Mindset Elevator, the live stream every Fridays at 8:30 p.m. EST. I'm going to be here. And once again, I'm hoping you guys are, you know, having a great time, having a great life, enjoying life to the fullest. Okay, everybody, taking care of yourselves. And I hope you guys had a productive week as well, right? You got to make sure that every week that goes by, every week, every month, that you're putting forth the best effort that you can, okay? Hey, India, how are you? Hope you're doing awesome. Thank you for being here, India. Always here, India. That's always so nice to see you. It's always great. Happy Friday to you, India. Thank you so much for the support. I've been seeing you for a long time. Thank you. Hey, Queen Chosen. Hope you're doing awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys so much. Hey, TJ. Hey, how are you guys doing? Hope you guys are feeling fantastic. Hope you guys have been feeling awesome, taking care of yourselves always, right? Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Hope you guys are feeling awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for the awesome vibes. And just for being supporters of the channel. It's really, really awesome. Thank you. Thank you. You know, control is everything. You know, control is like a currency these days. That's what I'm starting to think, right? That control is a currency. It's everything to people now, you know, not everybody, you know, but a lot of times the narcissists, you know, people who have a limited sense of identity, a lot of the times they start doing these control things. They try to control people around them, control the narrative, control, you know, other people's worlds. And, you know, there comes a point where you can't get everybody. You can't control everybody, right? And I'm going to get into it. MJ says, how do you keep going when you can't keep going? You know, when you feel like you cannot continue to push forward, you know, in your own life, you have to find a reason. You know, you have to see a reason. You have to see life as something worth living. You know what I mean? You have to see that when things don't go your way, or when things don't pan out the way that you thought, it's back to the drawing board. You know, you have to find a reason to get up and change things or modify things, learn more about the situation. You got to live life. You got to love life all the time. You know, you can't have this loathing for life, or you can't have this thought process that nothing's ever going to work out for me. No one's going to love me. No one's going to like me, things like that, because that's just going to set you, put you on a downward spiral, honestly. And sometimes it's hard to get out of that. So you want to make sure that you do believe that you can keep going and that there is something to look forward to. You know, it's vital to have visions and dreams, something to keep as an incentive, you know, to keep pushing, to keep living your best life. Thank you for your question, MJ. I really appreciate that. And I hope everybody also feels as though they have a reason to live, you know, their very best life. You have to love life. You have to try, you know, because life has a lot of beautiful jewels and, you know, rewards waiting for you for the right person who answers the call and who's willing to do that work. All right. So for sure, never lose sight of, you know, beauty of life. Right. So the premise today of the live stream, right, is the fact that you're going to have a lot of negative people in your life who are going to try to control you. All right. They're going to try to control you in general, right? They're going to try to get you to conform. They're going to try to get you to do what they say. They're going to try to get you to wear what they want you to wear, to talk how they want you to talk, to work where they want you to work, to be the person that they need you to be. There's going to be a lot of instances where you're seeing people in your environment trying to shape you and mold you into who they want you to be. And when you don't comply, right, or when you refuse, or you just feel like that's not for you, that's not something that you should be, that's not somebody, that's not what they're suggesting, or what they're trying to push is not your forte. You don't want to do it, right? So you push back. And rightfully so, because what you're probably thinking to yourself is, I'm not going to do anything I don't want to do. You know, plain and simple. I'm not going to live vicariously through somebody else. I'm not going to live someone else's tale, someone else's story in the way they want, but I have my own life. I have my own dreams, right? So when you said no to the control, then things started to shake up a little bit, right? People started to get angry and upset with you because for whatever reason, you don't want to do what they say. And they have a problem with that because that's normally the result that they get. Normally, they do get complacent individuals who will just, without even thinking, they just jump, right? And perhaps you don't move like that. Perhaps you like to think about everything that's involved in a circumstance to make a concise decision, right? And I know I'm like that. I'm not going to just jump into something blindly because somebody told me to. That's, I personally find it barbaric, right? Because I have my own mind, I have my own way of seeing things, and I'm not going to just say, yeah, I'm not going to be a yes woman. That's not how I really get down, right? You're going to find people getting really mad. The enemy's going to get really bent about you because you're not willing to just comply. Why don't you comply? Why won't you just do what they want you to do? Why won't you just perform in the fashion that is required of you? It's almost as though people just by default think that you're like everybody else. People by default think that you don't have a mind of your own, or that you're weak. You're weak of some, in some kind of way, that you would not stand up for yourself when, it came time to, or you would not take a stand against something you really didn't feel good about. But they're seeing that you will take a stand. You will not stand back. You know what I mean? And watch somebody dictate how you move, right? That's not your cup of tea. You're going to have people resorting. They're going to be resorting to a specific last ditch effort tactic, that they really love to do when all is lost. You know what I'm saying? When all is lost and they don't have nothing else going for them. They've tried many ways to get you complacent, or they've tried many tactics to get you to be the person they need you to be without success. Because you probably stand 10 toes down and you let people know in whichever way you had to that you're not doing all that. You go your own way, and you're not going to be swayed without you giving your own thought process, without you thinking for yourself. You want to know, you want to have all your bases covered, of course. So what they're going to resort to, the enemies oftentimes, and I've seen this so many times, and it's troubling. The tactic that I'm about to mention is troubling because it's kind of like, well, you did not defeat me and you didn't get what you wanted from me, so this is what you're doing now. The individuals who have failed to get you to be complacent and to get you to do what they wanted you to do, and it could be anything, like somebody expecting you to like be there for them every time you call, or whenever they need some more money, you're supposed to be the top-up person without any questions, because maybe in the past you were, but then maybe you changed your tune and you don't want to do that now because you're literally getting depleted. And so you're trying to say, no, I'm not going to move like that. You're not going to control me and tell me what to do, people. And what they're going to do is they're going to try to make it seem like you are mean, or you are rude, or you're not who you say you are. They're essentially going to try to defame you and have you declassified, They're going to try to get you to be looked at in a poor way. They're going to try to make it seem like you're not a good person, or you have a bad spirit, or you have ill intent for them. They're going to try to change the narrative about you. You present yourself as you are, and people who are hell-bent now because they can't control you, well, they figure, well, if I can't control Tom, Dick, and Harry, what I am going to do is control everybody else's perception of Tom, Dick, and Harry. That's essentially what they start doing, right? They're hoping that at least with this last resort here, that people just won't like you. People will just stay away from you. People will say, you know what, I hear a lot of noise about you when you seem like a really lousy person. Like, people want to make it seem like after all is said and done and they couldn't get what they wanted from you, that they're just going to tarnish your name. They're going to make it seem like you're just this bad person, no good, don't like people, don't like helping, and it's to hurt you. It's to even punish you. It's a punitive measure that they take, hoping that, you feel some type of way about not, falling in line and not doing what they wanted you to do. Sometimes they'll even put forth like embarrassment tactics where they try to like shame you and make you look very bad in the eyes of everybody else because you would not do, what they wanted you to do. Like, for example, say if it's a romantic situation where your partner requires you to present yourself in a certain way. And I've seen people, I've known people who were in situations like this. Is actually quite disturbing. But imagine somebody who has an overbearing, domineering partner who's trying to dictate how that other person dresses or how they present themselves. And that person who is suffering the grievances, they decide and say, you know what? I'm going to do what I want. You know what I mean? I'm going to do what I want. I'm going to wear what I want. This is my body. Let me do what I want to do, right? And so maybe because they are not able to control their partner, when there's a social gathering, for example, and that person is finally coming as they want to come, that bitter partner might try to embarrass that person in front of the guests. Like, oh, you look ugly, or you're wearing that, or you're wearing that in front of everybody, or, what happened to your hair? Did you put enough spray? And they try to like expose you and make it seem like you're a sloppy person, or you don't care about yourself, or there's something about you that's off, and they try to hurt your feelings because you wouldn't comply, or you wouldn't listen to them, or you wouldn't do what they said. And now it's like, now to make you look stupid. But what's happening here, it's like the degradation. They're trying to degrade you, They're trying to degrade you because they want to punish you for not being able to control you, right? So it goes a little bit deep, and it actually, I find it to be murky, It's a little bit murky when you're dealing with people who will go so far as to taint your image because you just won't perform. You won't do what they want you to do. You won't do what they're asking of you. And you're taking a stand and you're not hurting them. You're not being mean. You're just saying, I'm going to do what I want to do. And I'm going to do it my way. And that should be respected. But they don't like losing control. They don't like not having that control. They always get control. That's how they kind of see it. Like, I always control everybody around me. So why not you? Why are you being so difficult? And they'll probably classify you as a difficult individual, somebody who's hard-headed, somebody who's stubborn. Maybe you've been called these names, like you're stubborn, you don't listen. I'm just trying to help you. I'm trying to show you the right way, but it's always condescending. It's always self-serving. It never seems to really help you in any kind of way. It's just to keep you in line, right? It's to keep you like in line so that you perform the way that you make them look good. You make them look good. You make them feel better about themselves. It's literally like satiating another individual's ego, right? Where they don't know who they are. Once again, like I said earlier, lack of identity, right? But it makes them feel like somebody when they're in control of everybody else. And so when they have that, it makes them feel good about themselves, but it is an illusion. And so, of course, when you start saying like, I'm not going to be controlled by you, now they don't know who they are. Now they feel like everything that they had is slipping away and they don't have control anymore. So now they're angry and now they want to go on the hunt. They want to punish. They want to make you feel bad. They want to make you feel sad and they want you to feel inadequate. They want you to look bad in the eyes of other people. They don't want other people to look at you highly, even if you are somebody to be regarded in that way, and they know. I'm just talking spitfire right now. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Darian says they want to be you. That's why they act childish. It's crazy. You can have a lot of qualities, where people find it really enticing and they kind of wish they had that flair as well, but they don't, right? They don't have their own groove. A lot of these individuals, they don't really know who they really are. So it's like they start looking for hosts, people who they start looking for hosts. They start looking for people who they could like leech off of. And that's like it's like energy vampires, you know what I mean? It's creepy. It's creepy, but it's funny though. It's funny because people are actually like this. Like there's some people who literally jump from person to person looking for whoever they can control, whoever they could feed off of, right? Even like, and that's the thing. Like you'll often see these individuals like when they're trying to control you, it's probably because there's something about you that they really want to be. There's something about the way you move. It's like that's just what they are after, but they could never attain, for themselves. So they start using you as some kind of like host, right? Where you have to like meet the demands that they could never meet. It's very sick. You have to be who they wish they could be, but it seems like they are that because they've made you into an extension of themselves. These are narcissists a lot of the time. Yep. Right. Yeah, Brian says gaslighting is real. I'm doing my own thing. I'm currently getting ready to vote instead of booing them. I hear you. I hear you. Yep. Olivia says I'm taking a sabbatical from my family. Sometimes it's like that. Yep. Revelation says I go through that all the time. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, Danelle says people who don't have a life try to live vicariously through others, whether it be stalking you or pretending in some shape or form. For sure. For sure. That's, people aren't always who they say they are. You know what I mean? You start seeing that with their desire, their burning desire to control the masses, to control everybody around them. To control means to be somebody, right? It makes you seem important and appear important. And it gives you an identity that is not actually your own. It's almost like a surrogate identity, or once again, being some kind of a host, for another individual who you wish you were more like. You know what I mean? Somebody that has a little bit more flair. And, a lot of times that's just you. If you really think about it, why do these individuals always want to control you? You've probably peeped how they interact with other individuals, and you're probably thinking, why is that person so weak? Sometimes I will literally be looking at people being controlled by others so severely, that it's kind of like, hello, like what's going on? Like, how could you allow this to take place in your life? How can you make this person run you like that? You know? But some individuals, sometimes they don't understand what they're getting into, or sometimes people don't really fully get that they are being controlled and being used for the benefit of another individual. They just think that they're doing their job or their duty or just helping a relative, or they think that they're just helping mankind, that they're just being of service to others. But what they are being is being used, right? The lines have become so misconstrued when you're being of service. People know that you are there to help, right? So they'll literally use you for their own personal agenda that is more diabolical, that is more of the negative variety, right? When people start losing control of you, they will attack you, right? And they'll attack you through the community. They'll use the community to get at you, right? They'll use people in your family to get at you. If you don't do what mama says, right? Because mama's always right and you came from your mom, so you must, you know what I mean? Like things like that, it gets very sick. They will start spreading lies throughout the family to make it seem like you hurt mother's feelings or you're so mean to mom. How can you do that to mom, right? When in all actuality, mom's not well. You know what I mean? And mom's trying to control somebody who has their own life to live. And so it's kind of like, well, why am I being looked at as the bad person, or why is my name being tarnished if I'm just trying to do me, right? Why is that a crime? Like, why is that looked at as a negative thing? But oh, mother dearest, you can't be like that to your relative. You can't be like that to your bro or to your friend. Like, you have to be complacent. Don't speak out. She just looking out for the best interest of you. It's always like gaslighting. It is like gaslighting. It really is. They try to change the narrative like you're not a good person, because you didn't do what they wanted you to do. So now they have to spread a lot of lies. This is a last resort, because they know that controlling you ain't gonna fly. So all they can really do is taint your image to make other people think twice. Like, it's almost like leaving a bad review. It's like people trying to leave a bad review on your name, right? And then it's a lasting effect, if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's like people will try to, when you don't do what they say and they're upset about it, they're going to go around and start saying like, you're no good, don't trust her, like he did that, don't talk to him no more. Blacklist the dude, right? Because he did this to me, and if he did it to me, he'll do it to you. But all Mike did was do himself. Like, he's just living his best life. He's not trying to trouble anybody out here. But of course, when you're doing your own thing, that does trouble people out here because they don't have nothing to do with it. And they're jealous by it. They're jealous of the fact that you know yourself and that you have plans that benefit you, right? It doesn't benefit them. Sometimes people can't benefit off of you. These narcissistic leeches, a lot of the times they can't benefit from you when you cut them off. And so they're hoping that other people will also not be able or would not want to benefit from you or have a tie with you, have an association with you because of what you did to them. It's like they try to distort your social standing amongst various groups, hoping that people just be like, you know what? Don't trust them. Don't trust her because she did that to them. She'll do it to you. Once again, it's like leaving a bad review. It's like they want the impression of you to be altered and then to be long lasting, right? It could be like that for sure. Yep. Olivia says it's so insidious. That's a very strong word and a very accurate word to use, of course. Yeah, exactly. India says something. She says, when I don't let people control me, I notice that they purposely praise and give others their undivided attention while purposely giving me nothing, another punishment. You know what I mean? It's another punishment to make you feel unworthy of love or unworthy of praise. They know that you deserve that and more. But to hurt you, to punish you, and to make you think otherwise, they start pouring, especially into strangers, pouring love and affection, doing a lot of purposeful charitable acts to make it seem like they're the nice ones and they're the ones who care about everybody, and you're the one that cares about nobody, and you're rude and you're ruthless and you're careless. But they know that's not the truth. They know that they can't use you, they can't control you, use you in any kind of capacity, right? So they start literally trying to make you feel bad about who you are as a person, who you know you are, who they know you are. They'll pour love and affection. They'll support people they do not know. They will support people who, that they've just met on the street, right? Like they will know you for years, but they want to punish you because they've not been able to successfully get you to benefit them. A lot of times control is about benefit. They're benefiting from something that you will do for them. They're benefiting from how you move for them. If you're able to perform what they need, you're helping them in some kind of way. Therefore, they're benefiting from your presence in their life. So when they can no longer control you, that means they no longer benefit from your life. And then that means they lack an identity because they have never formed their own. So now it's kind of like an identity crisis that they're kind of blaming you for. And then because multiple ploys have not worked, that they could get you to be complacent or they could get you to do what they want you to do, they start trying to change the narrative about who you actually are and what you actually stand for, bad mouthing you, lying on you, leaving, making false claims about you, anything to tarnish your name, anything to make you look like a really bad person, hoping that people will never benefit from you because they either never could benefit from you or they were stopped from continuing to benefit off of you. A lot of the times it's the latter, We're nice people. A lot of times we're very nice people and we do try to give people the benefit of the doubt. We probably have helped a lot of people out here, without thinking twice. And then people start thinking, hey, I can use that person, right? I could use them to my benefit. They can make me look good, feel good, have a better life. Let me use them until they cannot use you anymore. Now you're kind of like disposable, to them, right? Now they want to make it seem like you don't really have anything to offer or you're not really genuine because when they approach you, you wouldn't. But then there's a lot of holes in their story. A lot of times when you hear their story about how they're trying to make you seem, it doesn't make any sense. Who just acts the way that you're claiming that they're acting? Most rational people, they start moving different because of their circumstances. Something about their circumstances is causing them to make different moves, right? You probably decided to make different moves because you saw that you were trying to be controlled by other people and you weren't having that. You didn't like that. It didn't have a place in your life. It wasn't something that you really were down with. So you made that known and people started to hate on you. People started to make it seem like, you know what? I can't control this person. They're going to be out of my life. So out of my benefit, I can't get anything from them. I can't make them do what they want. So nobody's going to benefit from them because I'm going to change what people think about that person. Therefore, when that takes place, they're hoping nobody likes you, like nobody cares about you. Everybody overlooks you. Everybody thinks that you're strange, but it's a last ditch effort. It's a last ditch ploy to try to get people to think differently and to think negatively of you. Exactly. Sector says, mind you, these are adults, right? And I've said this on a few streams and videos before, a lot of these things I've not even seen. A lot of these concepts, like these ways of being, I've not even seen them in high school, which is to show how crazy these situations really are. Not even in high school did I see these kinds of games being played. Only in my adult years did I see people really go off into the deep end and do these sort of diabolical things that are to hurt another person because you can't control them, right? Here's my thoughts on control. I'm not with it. You know what I mean? I am not with it. When it comes to people trying to tell me what to do and tell me how to be and expecting me to be in a certain way, I just don't like it. I'm the type of person where it's like, I have to have a say if you're asking me of something. I have to be able to decide what takes place. If you're asking me to do something, I have to have a part in this. It can't just be where you tell me what to do and I'm just like, yes, sir. Like, this is not Teletoon, This is not a show. This is not a game. When it comes to being a decent human being, and we request human beings to do things, people request us to do things. It's supposed to be harmonious, right? It's supposed to be respectful. If somebody's trying to come into my life and try to tell me what to do and how to live life, and it's like they're trying to make me not have any say, or to try to stop me from asking questions and prying into the matter further and trying to conceal even information that they know would bring a lot of clarity to me, which they don't want. I can't have that. You know what I mean? It cannot be like that. Um, I've lost a lot of connections because I felt like people were trying to control. People were trying to dictate how I moved, and it just wasn't working for them. You know, I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do. Even when people would tell me, like, don't talk to somebody, or, you know, you shouldn't do that because I heard this and I heard that. I draw my own conclusions and I would literally verbalize that to them. I'm not going to just do what you say because you had that experience with that person or that place. You know, let me look at it for myself. Let me judge for myself, right? Then I'll make a concise decision, but it's not going to be, um, it, you know, there's a coercion there, right? I'm not going to play that game. I'm not going to just be forced into doing something or being a certain way for your benefit while I'm not using my mind or I don't get to have any input. That's barbaric. Um, that's my kind of thing on control. Like when it comes to control, I just no. I welcome, you know, I welcome suggestions, you know, I welcome opinions, I welcome thoughts and ideas, and I might actually consider them, but it's not going to be where somebody's just going to tell me what to do and by default I just jump, right? There has to be a level of, you know, thinking here and an element of me having an involvement in it and not just being a bystander in my own life, right? So I've lost a lot of unions, a lot of connections that could have been something went to nothing, right? Because there was somebody else trying to control the narrative, trying to tell me how to be, trying to tell me how to move for their benefit, right? It wasn't like I was getting anything from the situation. I was being depleted, and I can't have that, right? Like I said, it has to be harmonious, it has to be respectful. So yes, unfortunately I've had some people try to change the narrative about who I was as an individual, you know. They will do that as the last resort to try to get me to look a certain way to people so that I feel bad about crossing them or not performing to their standards as though I was on the planet to perform for them, which is kind of silly, right? But these things happen. And so, you know, once again, control is a currency. It's like money now, right? It's power. Control is power, and control gives people an identity. And so when they feel like that identity is being compromised or stripped because you refuse to be that person that they want you to be, they start bringing the big dogs out, right? And they start trying to get people to actually see you in a whole different way that actually varies from how you really are, hoping that you get hurt to punish you, to make you feel bad about your choice, about not being complacent, and then maybe to get you to go to do what they want. You know, like a lot of times, like they'll punish you thinking that you're gonna come and be like, okay, boss, I'll do anything you say, boss. You know, a lot of times they have these sick games that they play where they think if they punish you or take something from you or deplete you or embarrass you, that that will make you listen, you know, or that will make you do the right thing now. But at the end of the day, what you said, you meant. You're not going to be controlled and you're not going to be manipulated out of a beautiful life simply for the benefit, solely for the benefit of another individual while you just float into oblivion and you never get to be yourself. You never get to have a say. That's not normal, right? Olivia says control is the spirit of a Jezebel. Right. Red Rose says, what would you do? What do you do if this is actually happening at work? I would probably quit. You know, I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest with you. I would probably quit. But at the same time, when you quit and you move on, you already know it's going to be some next stuff happening at that. You can't escape these things. You can't escape it. It's always going to be happening, right? But that's my honest opinion, my honest answer. I would quit. Honestly, if I had to deal with these juvenile games where people are trying to like tell me what to do, and because I'm not doing it, they go start playing games and whispering to the boss and, making everybody stay away from you, trying to, gossip about you, I would quit because it's not worth it. It's not worth the pay, and it's not worth the mental. It's not worth clocking in, day out, dealing with the same nonsense, right? But once again, even if you leave, it's the same thing. It's crazy. Yeah, workplace. And I've had my fair share of workplace bullies. I always try to be nice on a team because I've only worked in jobs that were team based and that were almost all of them were retail, right? It's safe to say now, I'm not really a big fan of retail, but it's because I like talking to people. I like being around people and meeting people. That's why I was always drawn to these positions, right? But every time I was in it, I'd get so turned off because it's kind of like, well, I'm dealing with the customers and they're great, but what's with all these workplace politics and what's with all these games, right? All these individuals are too grown for this stuff, way too grown. And they make it seem like you got to be in the drama. But what if I don't want to be? What if I'm not going to do what you say? I don't care if you've been here for 20 years. What does 20 years have to do with how I perform right now? What does you having seniority over me have to do with how I move, right? That's you. Do you, but I'm going to do me, right? Then they start whispering to the boss, and the boss wants to call you in. This has happened to me before. There's been some concerns, or there seems to have been an incident that happened, and the incident is so incredibly insignificant, it's insulting, right? It's almost like, you didn't fix a shelf right, or it was off, you didn't stack it right. It was always something so insignificant, but it came from one of their puppets that had seniority. That's just what I've dealt with. And oftentimes when they thought that I was going to just do what they wanted me to do by default, not saying I rejected to do the job correctly. It was more like the way they were trying to approach me and the way they were trying to make it seem like I had to be a certain way for them to be able to help me. It was weird. I'm like, I'm going to do what I do, right? I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to be by myself if I have to be by myself. I'm okay. I got ratted on a lot of times by people with seniority. You would think by now they would have had a whole other list of things to do. But apparently, they're really bored in these positions and they start tattletaling. They start doing a lot of juvenile games that it doesn't seem like somebody with poise and authority and seniority. It seems like somebody who's bored and who can't get the Scrabble board. You know what I mean? Like it's somebody who sees you as a target in this place and they want to make it seem like you are causing an issue, causing an inconvenience in this workplace so badly in their mind that you should be reprimanded. You should be spoken to. Andrea, I'm sorry to tell you, but it seems like there was an incident in aisle 3. You didn't really stack the shelf right. Incident? Right? Like, why are they why are they making it like that? Why are they doing it like that? Why are they saying it like that? Why are they making it seem like there's like a threat to national security, like what you did was so bad. And it was, and a lot of times they're super, super trivial, And so it's like, yeah, people will go far when they see that you're not like them and you're not going to be like them. They start finding problems with your character and then they start reporting you or talking smack about you, hoping that people look at you different. And that has happened to me. People have looked at me differently in the workplace, in the family, different dynamics, because I would not be a way that they wanted me to be. Then people started treating me differently because of nonsense that they heard, And I say, so be it, right? So be it. If you want to believe anything you want to believe blindly without using your own mind, well, at least thank God I have my own mind, Thank goodness that I know myself and I know that not a lot of people agree with my approach and how I do things. But thank God that I have my own mind. I have my own brain, right? I have my own, I make my calls. I have free will. I use my free will to the best of my ability. I try to make all the best choices that I can, right? And not everybody around me does. And that's why they go so hard to try to take that from you, try to make you feel bad about being your own person and having your own choices, right? Like you would think that you were doing something wrong, doing your own thing. That's how a lot of these narcissists act. Like when you are doing your own thing and you don't need them and you don't need help, that you're insulting them or you're hurting them or you're disrespecting them or you're, stepping out of line, which what is that supposed to mean, right? But that's how they move. And they make it seem like you have disobeyed them to the point where now you have to be punished to try to either, whip you back into shape or just hurt you for a long, long time, right? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Dub says the way they treat me is weird. Too, when I was at work, I was tripping. I hear you. You're thinking like, what did I do? What did I do? I'm just doing myself. I'm doing what I do. But that's all it takes these days, is to do what you want to do and for people not to be happy with that. Because once again, they're in an identity crisis where they don't even know who they are to do what they want to do. But they see you are the opposite and they can't have that because they were using you as some kind of host. And they want you to be their surrogate. They want you to be their exoskeleton. You know what I mean? They want you to move for them, but they take the clout though. Like they don't want you to have the bragging rights, but they want to make it seem like they made you or it's sick. It's sick. It's hard to even really explain, really. Some people really require control because control is all they've got in this world. When they got people, hey, go do this. All right. Everybody jumps off the porch, like what? Where's the common sense? Like, where's the objections? Where are the questions? Why is everybody just jumping off the porch for this person? Why doesn't that person jump off the porch themselves? You know what I mean? I'll be thinking that myself, like, why are they so scared? Why don't they do it themselves? Why do they need everybody around them to do it for them? Why can't they do it themselves? Because they don't know themselves, right? And because they don't know themselves, they're afraid to do they know you'll do it, but it comes to the point where you can't do it no more, or you refuse outright to do it at all. And so it's like, wow, they're in an identity crisis. Like they're literally having a really hard time coping with the fact that they can't use you as a host, or they cannot use you as somebody who will live and they could har- they could harvest off of your like energy. It's so sick, but that's just how it is, right? It's like people they realize that they cannot use your identity and claim it as their own. They cannot they can't use you as a host. They cannot use you as a host. They cannot use you as somebody that will make them look good. A lot of the times you make people look really, really good where they lack, right, in that flair. They don't have the flair. They don't have it popping. Not to say that they could never, but it's like they never did the work and you did. It's like taking a detour on your own life and using other people to fit, to benefit from, right? You will see that there will be people who believe, in the naysayers. They'll believe the lies that are being told about you, but there are going to be some more inquisitive individuals who decide that this needs further probing, that this does not make sense, what you're saying. It doesn't make sense that you're trying to make this person to be out in a certain way. What's the background? What's the story? Like, why? What caused them to like step away from you or not do something your way? Because they'll literally make it seem like the situation that they asked you to perform in was something that was like owed to them or something that you promised. It's sick. I've been in these situations where somebody was so desperate for me to be a certain way and I shut it down. And then they go around making it seem like, oh, I owe them something, or I was supposed to do this, but I didn't, and I defaulted on that. So that's why they're mad. Like, they try to twist the narrative. They try to twist it and make it seem like you did something wrong to them. But they're not really saying the story, the real situation of what took place, They're not saying that they have been antagonizing you for months, weeks, sometimes years on end, trying to get you to be a certain way, A lot of these individuals, they have simmering jealousy, they have simmering envy, they have identity issues, they have issues with confidence, you know what I mean? Like, they know that you exude that, so they're pretty much intimidated by that, and they want you to be their surrogate confidence or their walking bank account, right? Somebody that they could freeload off of. A lot of the times people could just freeload off your energy. They could just freeload off your vibe because you're the life of the party perhaps, and they're not. If you're around, they look like they're fun too, or they look like they're hip too, but it's just you, right? You're the one, you're the life, you're the joy, right? So then when you're not around, for whatever reason, you decided that this is not working out and you're going to step away. Now their identity that they kind of they had siphoned from you, now they're upset and they're going to try to make it seem like, no, you're actually antisocial and you're putting on a show for everybody because you're not really like that, and you don't really love people, and you don't really care to entertain. Like, they'll twist it and make it seem like because you're not around, it's actually because you don't like people and you don't care about anybody, and you just put on a show every time people come over. It's kind of like that, like they try to twist it. They try to make it seem like it's the opposite of what the situation actually is, Yep. Right. Danelle says, sounds like you know my ex-boss personally. A lot of these bosses in the workplace have God complexes. They have issues with being in that role. They abuse the role. They don't really respect being in a seniority or an authoritative position. Instead, they use it to bully people so that people will do what they want so that they feel better about themselves, right? A lot of these people in managerial positions, supervisory positions, or people who have seniority, they just by default assume that people should love them and respect them and do everything that they say because of who they think they are or who they've been told that they are, and without any respect involved. Like, people should just blindly respect them, or blindly love them or blindly bow down to them because of their worldly position, but they don't even care about the position. They care about power. They care about control. This is their motto. This is their currency. These are the mantras that they go by. They no longer care about servicing the community or being an uplifting individual in society. Instead, they care about who can I dominate, who can I tell off, who can I fire today, who can I get riled up with today? Because either way, they're going to respect me, you know? And there is this holier than thou complex that they tend to have. A lot of these bosses, a lot of these supervisors, a lot of these, you know, grandmothers, grandfathers, people who are kind of like up here, at least they've been made to feel like they're up here. It could be anybody who's kind of like up there in seniority or in a hierarchy that, you know, a lot of a natural hierarchy, you know, as we think about a family tree or a workplace or a friend group, or you know what I mean, like a teacher, a cop, whoever it is. It could be anybody who just feels like by default, because of their position, that you should do what they say. You should immediately and without question comply to whatever their demands are. And when you don't, they try, all of them try to no, I'm not saying all of them indiscriminately, but I'm saying all of these different groups of people can try to punish you for not doing what they asked, for not doing what they demanded, right? Teacher give you a bad grade, cop arrest you, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times it's kind of like unwarranted, or it doesn't make sense, or there's no reason why that should have taken place. And once again, these individuals, you know, if they wear a badge, if they're a coach, if they're, you know, some sort of leader, if they're like a boss or whoever, whatever it is, they don't think they have any rules to follow, or they don't think there's any ethical obligation on their end to abide by. You know, I hope you guys are following what I'm saying. It's like these individuals, they think that they're higher and they're more successful, and they think that nothing can touch them, nothing can hurt them, nothing can, you know, get back at them, that they could just do anything they want to do without fault. But here's the problem. They start making a lot of bad decisions. You know what I mean? They start making a lot of, or doing a lot of unethical practices that they would not have done under a normal circumstance or under regular circumstances. You know what I mean? Like, if there is somebody, it's almost like somebody, for example, let me think about this for a second. It's like somebody who craves control. You know what I mean? There's somebody who craves control, and they always get that control, right? And they don't think twice when they ask any which person, hey, do this. All right, jumping off the porch. Hey, Gary, you do that. Jump off the porch. It's like they automatically expect certain things to take place. And so when they say, hey, you jump off the porch, and you're not jumping off the porch, it jolts them. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how things normally go in their world. And so they're kind of like taken aback, and they'll start acting unethically. You know, and whoever they are to you, they start behaving in a way where maybe they try to make it seem like they were following the rules and they were doing it in the right way. But then when you said no, or when you said, nah, I'm not doing that, or I reject that, or I'm going to be doing my own thing, they start behaving like abnormally. They start doing things that they would not have normally done under normal circumstances of, you know, getting certain results that they're always used to getting. People jumping off the porch, they're used to that, check, check. But then when you don't, it's kind of like, what? You know, like, what do you mean you're not going to? And then they start breaking all the rules. You know, they start behaving sometimes illegally, unethically. They start behaving maniacally. Because when people start losing that identity that was yours, a lot of the time, they get angry because they feel exposed. You know, they feel exposed for not having their own flair, for not having their own way of doing things, for not being able to, you know, live life the way they want to live. So they start going on these crazed ventures of trying to get you to be complacent, to do what you know, to get people to hate you, to get people to be troubled by your presence, and to get people to stay away from you, because at least that will send a clear message to you that they're not happy with your choice. And you're gonna feel their wrath now. You know, it's pretty dark. Mm-hmm. Yep. India says they are pathetic. A lot of these individuals, man, unfortunately, it's a deep-seated issue, you know? These are not simple issues. A lot of the time, these are deep-seated issues, people with deep-seated problems that they refuse to get help for. They start using people like you and me to try to stay afloat or to keep a certain image um, um, active. When you remove yourself from the reins of control by another individual, right? You're not going to be their favorite person because now you've popped their bubble, right? Now you've kind of exposed them that they don't have their own identity. They don't have nothing really going. And it makes them feel so angry and so jilted by you that they actually want to like, they want me people to think that you're a completely different individual from who you're portraying yourself to be. They want you to be severely scrutinized, you know what I mean? To be severely watched in a way where people completely don't even recognize you anymore, or people who thought they liked you start looking away from you and start looking at you differently. Even though they've known you for a long time, they start thinking that, wow, maybe you are that way. Maybe you did do that, you know, because this is so outlandish. You must have done that. You must have done something really bad. But if only they knew. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to leave all of you lovely people with this, all right? I'm going to leave all of you guys with this. Control is currency, you know, and just like money, right? A lot of people need money. They will do anything for money, right? Just like people will do anything for control, they'll do anything to have everything lined up in a row for them, willing to do anything to keep it that way, right? So when you start noticing in your own life that people are taking such drastic measures to have you be the person to perform in a certain way, and you know they're trying to make it seem like you are a servant of theirs, you know, you boogie, right? For sure. You get out of the building and you continue to cultivate your own path, right? Because these individuals, they have a lot of growing to do, and it's growing that they've been willingly neglecting, right? You cannot be used anymore for their sick agenda of trying to live through another person, trying to be another person by proxy, right? Like that can only go so far. You know what I mean? You got to be yourself. Control is a currency, so when these people are lacking in it, they start getting desperate. They start thinking about what can I do to really regain control of this trying situation. So be very mindful that sometimes you can be the target of these individuals' lack of identity. You're looking very attractive these days when people see you and they know that you know who you are, right? They know that you are sure of yourself, and they want a piece of that pie as well. They want to be able to seem like they know who they are too. But what's really going on here is that they want to live through you. They want your presence to be the statement that makes it seem like they are you, or they are in control of you, but what's really happening is that they're using you, right? A lot of the times. So be very careful about the company that you keep. Be very, very careful about giving to the wrong people. You know, don't change your heart, but be very careful about, you know, depleting yourself over people that do not respect you, do not appreciate your place in their life. There's no respect there. Be very careful with that for sure. Be very careful. Yep. And when it comes to people changing the narrative about you as well, trying to shift the community's mindset about who you are as a person, just keep doing you and understand that the real ones will always recognize who you really are and what you really stand for. And it's never going to be where the individual who is trying to distort the minds of the community, they're never going to get ahead like that. That's not how it goes. That's not how it works. When these individuals go out on a diabolical venture to try to get you to be looked at in a negative way because they can no longer siphon you, or they can no longer benefit from you, or you won't be complacent to them, you won't listen, you won't do what they say, these individuals, they won't be able to use you anymore. They're just going to start using other people in their world until there's nobody left, until they're effectively by themselves, left with themselves to deal with their personal woes that they are now faced with and that they have to now deal with head on, you know? And don't be like how I was in my youth, trying to belong and trying to fit in and trying to mesh well with any group, anybody. You know, don't do that, because you'll end up in the same spot. And that's just the starting point again, you know, where you don't know who you are. That's why you're at, stage one, right? When you're trying to fit in with anybody, it's because they give you an identity. They make you feel like you know yourself. They make you feel like you belong. But notice that even when it happens for a while, you never feel like yourself, because that part is still pending. You know what I mean? So always make sure that no matter what group that you're a part of, or a team at the workplace, the family, make sure that through it all, you know who the heck you are. You know what I mean? You gotta know who you are, what sets you apart from all these individuals, right? Because that's going to help you make the best possible choices. And then it's going to show in your day-to-day life that you can mesh well with Uncle Bruno, right? But if Uncle Bruno tries to get you to do something that you don't want to do, business idea, any way of being, he tries to make you into a different person, whatever the case might be, and you don't want to do it because you're not with that, you can respect Uncle Bruno and see where he's coming from, but you're going to do what you do. You're going to do what you do. If the boss, anybody out here who tries to like sway you and tries to change the way that you live your best life because of jealousy, a lot of the times, they can't take it. They can't take that you know yourself and that you are who you are. Well, guess what? They're not going to be comfortable with you for a very long time. They're not going to be happy with you or like you for a very long time. So what does that mean? That means that you still got to do what you do best. You still got to live your best life. You still got to live life to the fullest, and don't let anybody out here stop you. You got to do you, right? You got to do you. Yes, exactly. Right. Exactly. India says, Uncle Bruno, I love you, but this is my life. But yeah, exactly. Exactly. So thank you guys so very much for stopping by on this live stream today, on this Friday. I really appreciate all of you guys here, for all the generous donations here. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. For the likes, for the watches, for the commentary. That is, very, very lovely. Thank you guys so much for being here and rocking out with the Mindset Elevator. It's almost to November 2024, so that's something for sure, right? And I thank you guys all for your uplifting ways of being, for you guys just adding so much value to the channel, for growing the channel to the extent that it has grown. I mean, like, it's hard to put into words. I'm very, very thankful. All right. Stay up, everybody. Stay positive. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. And whenever you guys do view it, even at a later time, thank you guys for all those who have been here. Busy lives, and you guys have been here. So I thank you so much for that, for sure. Right? Stay up, everybody. I'm closing the stream out. And I thank you. Let's stay connected during the weekend. And stay up and live life. All right, everybody? Live life to the fullest. Stay up, right? The mindset elevator. Stay up, everyone. Stay up. And I'll see you guys soon, okay? So take care and have a great night. Bye.